Good morning, everyone. Virgo, I need you to mark these words. Write them down, screenshot this, remember this moment, because someone is coming back to you, not casually, not tentatively, not with half hearted, maybe we could try again energy. They're coming back obsessed, with marriage on their mind, with commitment they couldn't offer before suddenly becoming the only thing they want, with a level of certainty about you that they didn't possess when they had access to you. And that shift from whatever they were to this is so dramatic that you need to hear about it before it happens so you can navigate it wisely. Because here's what you need to understand, Virgo. People who come back obsessed aren't always coming back healthy. Sometimes obsession is growth. Sometimes it's just panic about losing what they took for granted. Sometimes I want to marry you means I've done the work and I'm ready. And sometimes it means I realized I can't replace you. So I'll say whatever you need to hear to get you back. And you need to know how to tell the difference. So let's explore this. Who's coming back? What's driving their obsession? What marriage talk actually means in this context? And how to protect yourself from being swept up in someone's intensity when intensity alone is an evidence of readiness. Take what resonates here, Virgo. This is about a significant return with escalated commitment language. You remain in control of your response, always. This is simply an invitation to see this clearly before their energy overwhelms your discernment. Let me start by identifying who this person is, because you probably already know. This is someone from your past, someone who had you and lost you, an ex who walked away thinking they'd find better, someone who wouldn't commit when you were available, someone who kept you in limbo while they explored other options, someone who took your loyalty for granted until you finally withdrew it, someone whose indecision or fear or immaturity cost them the best thing they ever had. And they've been living with that realization, and it's been eating them alive. And now they're coming back, not tiptoeing, not testing waters, coming back with force, with conviction, with language they never used before. I want to marry you. I need you in my life permanently. I'm ready now in ways I wasn't ready before. I can't imagine my future without you. Words they couldn't say when you needed to hear them. Words that would have kept you, but they're saying them now. Now that you're gone or distant or moved on. Now that they've lost their guaranteed access. Let me talk about what's driving their obsession. Because understanding the source tells you whether this is real transformation or just loss aversion masquerading as love. Scenario one, they've actually grown. They used the time apart to do genuine internal work. They went to therapy. They examined their patterns. They dealt with their commitment issues or their fear of vulnerability or whatever was blocking them from showing up properly. They've become someone different, someone capable of what they weren't capable of before, and their obsession is the result of genuine readiness meeting retrospective recognition of your value. Scenario two, they tried to replace you and couldn't. They dated other people, pursued other options, tried to find someone who gave them what you gave them, but without requiring the vulnerability or commitment you required. And everyone paled in comparison, not because you're perfect, but because You're specifically right for them in ways they didn't appreciate until they tried to find it elsewhere and discovered it doesn't exist elsewhere. And their obsession is born from scarcity, from realizing you're irreplaceable. Scenario 3, they're panicking about you moving on. They've seen or heard that you're thriving without them. Maybe you're with someone new. Maybe you're just clearly happy. Maybe mutual friends have reported that you're doing amazing, and that's triggered their ego, their sense of ownership, their fear that the door they thought would always be open is closing, and their obsession is less about wanting you and more about not wanting to lose the option of you. Scenario 4, they hit rock bottom and you represent safety. Something in their life went wrong. They lost a job, ended a toxic relationship, faced a health crisis, experienced something that made them realize life is short. And in that vulnerable state, they're romanticizing what you represented: stability, support, unconditional love. And their obsession is about seeking refuge, about wanting you to save them from whatever they're going through, not about genuine partnership, but about needing rescue. Um, Let me slow down here. Because Virgo, you're especially vulnerable to this particular dynamic. You want to believe people can change. You want to give credit for growth. You want to see the best in people. And when someone comes back talking marriage, talking commitment, talking about how they've realized you're the one, your heart wants to believe them. Your hope wants to accept it at face value. Your loneliness, if you've been lonely, wants to say yes immediately. But you can't afford to do that. You can't afford to let their intensity override your discernment. You have to require evidence. You have to ask hard questions. You have to watch their behavior over time instead of just accepting their words in the moment. Because words are easy. Marriage talk is especially easy when someone's desperate. But follow through, consistent changed behavior, that's what actually matters. Drop a comment, Virgo, if you already know who's going to come back. If there's an ex or former connection who you've been sensing might resurface. If you've had dreams about them or been thinking about them randomly or just felt their energy hovering. Because I think many of you know you've felt this coming, you just haven't known it would arrive with this level of intensity. You know what else I'm sensing? Timing. This return is happening soon. Within weeks, maybe a couple months maximum, um, they've made the decision. They're working up to the approach. They're rehearsing what to say. They're planning how to re enter your life in ways that demonstrate they're different now. And when they do, when they show up with marriage talk and obsessive energy, you need to be ready. You need to have already decided how you're going to handle it. Let's sit with this for a moment. What if they're genuinely different? What if they actually did the work? What if their obsession is healthy desire backed by genuine readiness, and their marriage talk is authentic commitment, not manipulation? What if this is your person who had to lose you to appreciate you, and now they're back ready to build the life you always wanted with them? That's possible. And if that's the case, if they can demonstrate through consistent behavior over time that they're different, maybe there's a second chapter here. Maybe this is one of those rare stories where people grow separately and come back together better. Maybe their return is actually the beginning of something healthy, instead of just another cycle of the same dysfunction. But Virgo, you can't know that immediately. You can't know it from their words or their intensity or their promises. You can only know it from sustained demonstration over months, from watching whether their actions match their claims, from seeing whether they maintain their commitment when things get difficult or when the initial obsession fades into comfortable familiarity. Let me offer you practical guidance about handling this return. First, don't say yes to marriage talk immediately. No matter how compelling their case, no matter how much you want it to be true, marriage isn't something you agree to based on someone's sudden realization. It's something you build toward through demonstrated partnership over time. So if they're talking marriage, your response should be something like, if you're serious about that, then let's take our time and build something healthy that leads there naturally. Second, ask specific questions about their growth. What specific work have you done on yourself? What's different about how you'll show up? What therapy have you attended? What patterns have you broken? What have you learned about why things didn't work before? Don't accept vague promises. Require concrete specifics. Because people who've actually done work can articulate exactly what they've learned and changed. Third, start slow regardless of their intensity. They might want to jump back into full relationship immediately. They might want to move in together or get engaged or accelerate everything because they're afraid of losing you again. Don't match their pace, set your own, rebuild slowly, let them prove consistency over time. Healthy foundations require time. Rushing benefits no one except the person who's afraid you'll change your mind if given space to think clearly. Fourth, watch for red flags of unhealthy obsession. Is their intensity about you or about possessing you? Are they respecting your boundaries or pushing past them? Are they interested in what's best for you or just in getting what they want? Do they respect your pace or guilt you for not moving faster? Healthy desire respects autonomy. Unhealthy obsession violates it. Fifth, consult people who know your history with this person. Talk to friends who witnessed what you went through, who saw the pain this person caused, who held you when things fell apart. Because when you're in it, when someone's love bombing you with intensity and commitment language, it's easy to forget your friends remember. Let them help you maintain perspective. Let me ask you one final question, Virgo. What would you actually need from this person for their return to be worth considering? Not just what they say, but what they do. What consistent behaviors over what period of time would convince you they're different? What evidence would you need? What boundaries would need to be respected? What patterns would need to stay broken? Know your answer now, before they show up, before their obsession and their marriage talk cloud your judgment. Write it down if you need to. So when they return, when they say all the right things, you have something external to reference, something that helps you distinguish between what they're saying and what you actually need. Here's what you must understand, Virgo. I'm marking these words. Someone is coming back to you. They're obsessed. They want to marry you. That's real. That's happening. But their wanting doesn't create your obligation. Their obsession doesn't erase history. Their marriage talk doesn't automatically mean they're ready for marriage. Words are easy. Changed behavior sustained over time is what matters. And you get to decide whether to even engage, whether to give them a chance to demonstrate growth, whether to believe they've changed, or whether to protect the peace you've built without them. You get to decide based on evidence, not just on emotion, based on their demonstrated capacity for change, not just on their claimed transformation. Their return is not your destiny, it's your choice point, and you're allowed to choose yourself, to choose your peace, to choose to keep the door closed even when someone's knocking with promises of forever. You don't owe them another chance just because they finally realized what they lost. Take what resonates from this reading, Virgo, leave what doesn't, and remember that you remain in control of your boundaries, of your standards, of whether someone's return becomes reconciliation or just becomes closure. Mark my words, someone is coming back to you. They're obsessed. They want to marry you. And when they arrive with that energy, you'll need to decide if their transformation is real or if their intensity is just fear of loss masquerading as love. Choose wisely, Virgo. You deserve someone who was ready when they had you, not just someone who got scared when they lost you. Trust your inner knowing. Trust your discernment over their intensity. Trust that you're allowed to require proof of change. Trust that healthy love doesn't require you to abandon wisdom. Trust that you deserve someone who chose you consistently, not just someone who chose you desperately when alternatives failed. Thank you for being here, Virgo. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for being someone who can receive intensity without losing clarity. You're exactly where you need to be. About to experience someone's return, about to hear marriage talk, about to make choices that determine your next chapter. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, Virgo. Stay grounded, require evidence. And remember, obsession isn't the same as readiness. Marriage talk isn't the same as marriage capability. Choose accordingly.